Deep Threat Sports Network fans, welcome back. Tonight we have the quad box rolling. Dave, Bryant, Nolan, and myself. A little episode here for you to go ahead and kind of put a bow on this college football season. Talk about the national championship, the national champions, Indiana Hoosiers. What a great football game we had in store for us in that national championship. Couldn't have figured out a better way to end the college football season. And like I said, we're going to talk about that game, review the Book It segment a little bit, talk about how we ended up, and then kind of talk about what this means for college football moving forward and like what it means for some of these teams that haven't necessarily had the most success, kind of like Indiana did a couple of years ago, and then turned the page and went and won a national championship. So, fellas, since we have all four of us, I'm not really going to do too much here in the intro. Just going to kind of dive right into this college football national championship. If you guys are good with that, I'm going to throw us up here in the corner, and let's talk a little college football national championship. So we had Miami versus Indiana, Miami 21, Indiana 27. And this game was absolutely incredible. And I loved every second of it. And it was really, really entertaining. So, Dave, what was your takeaway from this football game? What was some of the things that Indiana did to have the success? How did Miami kind of get that comeback going? And how did this thing wrap up at the end of the football game?
Man, I think this game really just came down like, obviously we knew Miami has talent, Indiana has talent, but I think that what really set Indiana apart is they did, all the little things right. They're not they're good, but I don't think they're elusive. I don't think they're doing any, crazy plays. They're just doing all the plays correctly. They're just so efficient in everything they do. And maybe it's because these are all older guys. A lot of these guys are experienced players. They've been around. This is, their fourth, fifth year. Versus, you look at Miami that's got, a lot of young guys starting for them and playing. And, nothing against the young guys. But, man, I think once you had those reps in, that really makes a difference. Let's look at Miami's defense. I mean, Miami's defense is one of the best defenses, we've seen this year. And Indiana, didn't really struggle a whole lot. I mean, there was a couple here and there, but, man, they were just so good. I mean, I think one of the biggest things that I saw was that over-the-shoulder throw was just accurate and deadly every time. And I think even if you are defending very well, if they're just automatic with that, you're not going to stop it. But I think that was the difference here was Indiana was so good at they were just precise with everything. They weren't making mistakes. Obviously, Fernando Mendoza, is a quality player. But
they're just fundamentally sound.
You said what?
They're just fundamentally sound.
Like
to your point, they don't make mistakes. They're in the right spot every time.
They actually made more mistakes in this game than they have all season combined, I think.
Yep, 100%.
Yep.
And still ended up winning the game.
Yeah, go ahead, Nolan. What do you got here?
There was a couple things. Well, we're going to start. Dave mentioned the Miami defense and Indiana offense. I agree. They didn't throw the ball a whole bunch, but I think they called about 40 RPOs because they were just so scared of Bain and Mesidor. Yep. And Indiana's right tackle looked like he was on skates all night long. It didn't matter who was lined up against him. They were straight through him, straight around him. They couldn't do anything. So I think Indiana just figured it out pretty early. Listen, we can't block these guys. We're going to run it up the middle. We're going to run some RPOs. And then those back shoulder catches that, we talked about it in the preview. If they go 50% or higher, Indiana's going to win the game.
The back shoulder route to Becker is a cheat code. Like every time I felt like it was a moment for it to happen, it happened. I felt like Miami maybe even kind of knew it was coming, and they just couldn't stop it. Not to mention Becker made two incredible catches on two of them. So we got to give credit for that for sure.
And they let him play hard too. That was a lot of hand fighting, a lot of pushing, some jersey grabbing that definitely affects how people are able to catch it, and he still came down with it.
Yep. Bryant, what do you have to add?
I feel like this was a tale of two halves for Miami. They really couldn't do a whole lot on offense in the first half, and that was credit to Indiana. They were just shutting down what they do best, which is running the football and then throwing off of that. And then their defense was – dude, I don't know if you guys saw – why were they playing like 10 yards off the ball almost every time, and they were just running those short routes when the RPO was open?
That was only a first half. That was only a first half thing, right? I think I have it in my notes here. I think that you got to chalk up a lot of that to Xavier Lucas being out.
Yes,
That
exactly.
is a massive loss.
Which
And
that-
I'm going to throw an absolute shit fit on this episode about how if you get a targeting in the second half of the game before, what are we doing having guys sitting out the first half of the next game, especially a national championship? That's horrible. That is a horrible rule. I will sit here and bang the table. When we do our episode in the offseason about rules we want changed, I will bring that rule up again. That rule is dog shit. You shouldn't be missing time in the national championship or any game moving forward. It's dumb as shit. I absolutely hate that. But I think you noticed a massive difference, to your point, Brian, in the second half on that Miami secondary. They tightened it up, and then that's when they were getting home on Mendoza a whole lot more.
Yep.
Yeah, and on the offensive side of the ball too, I thought Miami was the better football team in the second half, personally.
Yes.
Obviously the score, but if it wasn't for that blocked punt touchdown, Miami had a real shot to win this game because of what they were doing on offense in the second half. Because Indiana, they were having long sustained drives, kind of playing like that Miami style of play that they've done all season, doing it their way, running the ball, short passes, back shoulder throws, etc. And it took that special teams play for them to overcome the surge from Miami in the second half. But all around, really, really good game. Honestly, a little closer than I thought it would be, but credit to Miami for putting up a fight against one of the better teams we've seen in recent history.
Hey, thanks for having me here real quick, Jordan. Jordan said, won't be able to tune in tonight, boys. Came to drop a comment and leave a like. I'll catch it later on for show. Thanks for hopping in real quick with us, Jordan. Go ahead, Nolan. What you got?
That block punt, what the hell was he doing?
What was it, number 87? I don't remember his name.
It was their backup tight end.
Just got caught sleeping, man.
I shouldn't say backup. He was the starter in this game because their starter was hurt. Yep. But he kind of threw an arm out there like he was playing in scout team in practice. Like, oh, this guy ain't going to get there. What do you mean? It's one of their best defensive linemen.
It's the national championship, dude. What are you taking plays off for? Go ahead. What'd you say?
That serves the point of kind of the undisciplined thing we talked about with Miami. If they cut down on half the penalties and bonehead stuff like that, specifically in this game, I think they're national champions.
Yep. One of the things that stood out to me talking about some changes and in the first half, second half, but the biggest thing for me and talking to your point, Brian, building on that some more about the discipline is there were 3 or 4 times in this game where Miami gets a stop on third down, third and long, and their defense commits a penalty, automatic first down. You're now allowing Indiana to stay on the field, take some more time off the clock, because I felt like Indiana in this football game, I'm going to be honest, I felt like Indiana and Cincinnati knew that on a matchup basis from player to player, I think he might have knew that they might have been out-talented and a little outmatched, so he just had to out-coach them. So they slowed things down in this football game a ton, wanted to limit Miami's chances, and wanted long, methodical drives down the field. And when Miami would get those stops, they would then allow Indiana to stay on the field and just completely eliminate Miami's offense for a lot of the game. So it was really well done by them. And on the flip side, really poorly done by Miami's defense. And you saw a lot of those in the secondary. And I know the true freshman that came in and was playing for Xavier Lucas in the first half, Indiana loved picking on him. And I felt like he could have been penalized on probably 70% of the plays he was involved in, honestly. And I love, to your point, knowing how the officiating let them play a little bit. It's a national championship. Let these boys do their thing. It was handsy all over the place. Loved it. Another thing I loved that Miami was doing, because we said it all season long, they had the best trenches in the country. I think it showed again in this football game, even though they lost. You see Miami playing physical football. They are putting hat on hat. They're knocking Mendoza's ass in the dirt. People are sitting there saying they wanted it to be a penalty, whatever. They still won the game. Let's get past that. But Miami knew they had to play physical football, and I loved watching that. One thing that we talked to as well is, at what point does a Mario Cristobal coaching call bite them in the ass? And I'm going to be honest, fellas, I thought Mario trying to kick that field goal at the end of the first half was the dumbest coaching mistake he's maybe made all season. I get it. You probably wanted to get some points on the board, right? And your offense wasn't doing much, but you're trusting, 49 or 50-yarder? You're trusting your kicker who's been mediocre at best, cold on the sidelines. I know it wasn't cold, but cold in the sense of like not being on the field a ton. He's not even kicking off because you weren't scoring points. Like, he's doing nothing. And you want him to come in here in a big moment, You're down a couple possessions, and you wanted to come in here and kick a 50-yard field goal right off the pine. Did not like that coaching call. I thought if you could have kept him offense on the field, went for it, hopefully got 7, and if not, get him in closer range. I did not like that at all. Thought that was the dumbest decision for Mario for me.
I think the only argument you can say is he wanted to get some momentum on his side, but does a made field goal really bring that much momentum to you?
Field goals weren't winning that football game. I know the score got tight, but at that moment, field goals did not feel like Miami was going to get Miami in the game.
A missed field goal and a 4th down stop, probably the exact same momentum killer, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For me, too, like watching these two quarterbacks play, I thought the difference in them – because I'm going to be honest, I know people are loving what they saw from Mendoza, and don't get me wrong. He said it 8 times after the game was over in an interview again. It's the same thing he's lived on all season, and he's right. I do believe that the guy would go out there and die for his team on the football field. I have no doubts, especially after watching the touchdown run on 4th down. Mm-hmm. That's the difference in Cignetti and Cristobal right there, too, going for that on that 4th down for a touchdown to put the game almost out of reach, it felt like.
That was an RPO call as well. He was the runner on the play, and he looked out. You could see him look at the sidelines. He actually had a decent numbers advantage out there, and he looked out there. He must have said, screw it. I'm gonna take it myself.
And, dude, credit to him. So the difference between Beck and Mendoza in this game was the fact that Mendoza could use his legs in moments like that. And, dude, not that I didn't think Beck wanted it, but Mendoza just, wanted it. I felt like when he was on the field, he was going to will his way to a victory. And let's be honest, when Beck took the field at the end of the game, my confidence wasn't really there. I was like, maybe get it in Malachi Tony's hands and maybe he can take it 80 yards to the house. But I just didn't feel like he was going to be able to throw them to a national championship. And I think that was the difference. When the moment mattered the most, Mendoza was able to put a dot on a back shoulder, and Beck just didn't have that. If it wasn't for Malachi Tony breaking tackles and getting to the end zone, and if it wasn't for Mark Fletcher running people over and getting to the end zone, this game wouldn't have been close. So credit to Tony and Fletcher. They were the real difference makers for this Miami offense.
I think it's safe to say that Fletcher and Tony were probably the 2 best players on the field.
It's not close. They're the 2 best players in this game, in my opinion, and it wasn't close. Right next to him being Black, the running backs for Indiana, because, dude, when those guys get the ball, they are shot out of a cannon coming out of the backfield. You get in their way, they are running your ass over.
And they're not big guys either, which is the crazy part.
Yes. Yes, you were right, 100%.
Strength and conditioning team over at Indiana. Wait, actually, I think the strength and conditioning coach just went to LSU.
He left. He did leave, but I don't know where he went. But I know he did leave, to your point.
They liked what they saw.
Those guys move all over.
Also, you guys talked about this earlier, that right tackle. Dude, Ruben Bain and Mesidor absolutely chewed up that Indiana offensive line, man.
Yep.
After the game, they were talking about how it was the most physical game they've ever played in their life. And, God, it was an awesome game, man. I can't say enough good things about it, honestly. The second half was incredible. And I think Brian said this earlier, to your point, if it was you, Brian, it wasn't really an awesome game for Indiana in the second half, but it was an awesome football game because you were watching Miami come back and make this a game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Mendoza got sacked his first 3 pass attempts in the second half.
Yeah.
I do have another comment just about the quarterback play. I think another big difference between the two, and I could have my number slightly off here, but Carson Beck, you see it on the screen here, 19 of 32. 12 of those completions came inside the numbers.
Yes.
Only 1 of those completions went for further than 15 yards in the air, and that was the scramble play that he completed to C.J. Daniels that he was back there for 8 seconds.
Which was a great play.
The only pass completions outside the numbers was those screen plays.
Yep.
He did not have one past the line of scrimmage outside the numbers. We talked about it. If everybody's been listening since the very beginning of the season, we talked about how Carson Beck's arm strength was a potential weakness or a potential issue. It's exactly what you saw in that interception in this game.
Yep.
It just kind of floated up there. Safety already made a break on it. Even if it was a great throw, he was still potentially going to get there. But it just kind of floated out there. It didn't really have that zip to it.
He had a quick window on that pass for a moment, but it would have took a laser. And clearly, to your point, he doesn't have that. Like you saw Miami all game long. It was screen passes behind the lines of scrimmage play, like just what they do. And they do have Malachi Toney who can do those things for them.
And credit to Indiana, too. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I heard D'Angelo Pond's name once in this game because they never threw his way. So
he had a massive hit on the
yeah,
one
but
they showed him. I think did he force a fumble? Or he had a massive hit on somebody to force an incompletion or do something.
Yeah, I remember that play, but like they weren't thrown towards him at all.
No, hell no, he's too good.
I think they threw at him 3 or 4 times. They had one pass completed for 1 yard.
Exactly.
Hey,
so
if you remember back,
Indiana was kind of forcing to get that game plan for Miami too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean they rushed 3, maybe 4 all night long and dropped 8 and said, "Okay, beat us."
That can't beat us. Like that's what they did. To pat ourselves on the back a little bit here, if you remember back to I think it was June or July, D'Angelo Pons was one of our Big Ten players to watch this coming season, and the dude is bar none one of the best cover corners in the country. And he proved
word on the street is he's coming back again because he's like what 5'9".
He's like 5'8" or 5'9". He's not a big guy.
I heard the stats, and I want to say he is like 5'9", like 175. I looked at my wife. I was like, that's me. I am 5'9", 175. That is me playing out there against these grown men.
Dude, and he absolutely blows people up.
You got any eligibility left, Nolan?
I've never been
they're letting G League
from my
guys
concussions yet.
They're letting G League guys into college basketball, so I'm sure you could try it out.
Jesus.
I mean, I know you played college football, but
Garrett and I are going to have to touch on that on the Foul 'em Hard episode because that shit is out of control as well.
Ridiculous.
Anything else on this game? I feel like we covered it pretty well, but it was the national championship, so leave no stone unturned. I mean, it's the last game, so we're going to put a bow on it. It's the last game. Anything else?
It was kind of impressive to see that most of the stadium was Indiana fans. I made up 75-80%.
No, is it impressive or is it embarrassing if you're Miami? It's embarrassing.
Well, nobody goes to Miami games anyway, so I kind of expected it. But, you think they'd kind of show out.
Dude, it's a national championship in your
I feel like the only people there that were Miami fans were celebrities trying to show face.
Know what I'm saying? It is
Speaking of that, dude, did you see there was a field level suite you could get 18 tickets, 2 parking passes, all you can eat and drink? It was $1.1 million.
That's ridiculous.
Ain't that nuts?
General admission, like nosebleed ticket, it was like $5,000. There was actually like StubHub and Ticketmaster and everybody were letting you do like a 3-year payment plan to try and pay this thing off. So Indiana students ended up going to this game, and more or less it's like a loan. They're just going to pay over 3 years. They're going to pay their $5,000.
It's a part of their student loan.
Yeah.
Fellas, it sounds like unless we get granted press passes that we tried for this last year, it doesn't sound like we're ever going to make any of these. This is becoming a rich man's sport, and I don't know if we're going to be able to take the 4 of us on a flight to a national championship and enjoy any of that anytime soon. Unless we have some fans out there that want to pay for it for us, that'd be cool. But
if this podcast blows up and we become super legit, we could get some press passes.
We tried this last year. Brian put
into it, but we'd have to jump through a lot of hoops plus add on a bunch of stuff to get to that point.
Oof.
Well, maybe one day, boys. We're doing our due diligence, that's for sure. Maybe one day. Wrapping this up with this game. Great season, both these teams. I think Miami answered a lot of questions in the sense that people were pissed off that they got in. I get the frustration. I think they proved their point. So credit to them for not just being one and done and coming in here and going to a national championship and competing and making it a game and having a chance to go win the game against a team that people are saying is a top 3 team of all time, all this jibber jabber. I don't know if I'm going that far. They were a very good football team. Cignetti's a very good coach. I got to put the clown nose on and admit that I was wrong about them for almost a whole entire season. And credit to them, man. It was an awesome season for both these teams.
I hate that people put this Indiana team as one of the top 3 all time.
Yeah, I'm not going that far. I would say top 15. Yeah, it's probably more right. Yeah.
I'm good with like a top 10, top 15. I could argue that, but a top 3,
No. Dude, people are saying there's legitimate conversation saying that this team would go out there and compete with the 2019 LSU team. And I'm here to tell you,
No
No.
shot.
No chance.
it's a
I mean,
14-point spread.
I could name 3 teams off the top of my head that are better. 2019 LSU,
No doubt.
2001 Miami,
No doubt.
2013 Florida State. There's a few others I think that are better. I mean, literally every player on that Florida State team got drafted.
There's some
on
Bama
both sides
teams.
of the ball.
There's some Bama teams in there that'll bang with this team, no problem. There's
Yes.
some Clemson teams in there that'll bang with this team, no problem. Like I'm taking
I would-
college Deshaun Watson over college Fernando Mendoza. Like I'm taking
I would say this is probably the number 1 best coaching performance
yes.
ever, for sure.
absolutely.
He got the most out of the least, and that's not me degrading the players that were on the field, but it's going back to the conversations of the lack of 4 and 5 stars, the lack of the highly touted guys. This was the best coaching performance. I will 100% agree with that.
Mhm.
I mean, isn't 5 or 6 of their starters from JMU from when Cignetti came over?
The guy that
Yeah.
blocked the punt and recovered it in the end zone was from JMU.
I'm not saying they're not talented. They're still playing Division I college football, but they are not the 6'5", 275-pound monster that looks like he's chiseled out of stone and runs a 4.5.
Yeah.
Correct.
They only had 5 blue chip players in their team. Miami has more than that on their defense.
They have more than that on the freaking offense and defensive line.
Pretty
Yeah.
sure they had 55. I think it was 55-5. Also, first team, I don't think we mentioned this, first team to break the blue chip ratio.
Yeah, we talked about that on
Yeah.
our preview show. Talked about how they could go in and do this thing and debunk
So-
that theory a little bit.
We can stop talking about that, Nolan, right?
No, I will continue talking about the blue chip ratio.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing. So, kind of staying on that game and moving on from it a little bit. I have a couple questions I want to ask you guys that kind of came to my mind sitting back and thinking about this thing and kind of wrapping my head around it after Monday night. What does this do for other teams? And not to sound like a homer pick here, but just a team that comes to mind. What does this do for a team like Mizzou? What does this do for a Kansas State? What does this do for a Texas Tech that's kind of beating around the bush a little bit? Can they get there? What does it do for those teams that feel like they can't believe that their team's actually ever going to do this? But do they believe now too? Or is it kind of just a one-off with Cignetti because he's doing some remarkable things?
I think it's a one-off. I'm not saying that Indiana can't do it again, but I don't think there is going to be again, we talked about how impressive his coaching was. I think his coaching was impressive. He just happened to have all the right guys around him. With the experience, with some level of talent. I don't think it's reproducible. I don't think a South Carolina can look and say, "Oh, we can do it." Missouri can look and say we can do it, and especially.
Thanks, Dave.
No,
you're right. I agree.
Nothing against any of these teams. I think they are good teams, but at the end of the day, too, I think we're seeing it now with the portal. It's like the second you get kind of good, they're going to all these big teams are just going to pluck you apart. Kind of like it's happening to an Ole Miss, kind of how it's happening to all these teams that were pretty good, and you're going to lose probably your top 5 players to the transfer portal, and they're going to go to a Miami, they're going to go to an LSU, and you're never going to be able to fully load your team up. And Kurt Cignetti just happened to have all the guys that he needed, and again, these were not guys that were top guys in the transfer portal. He just had a bunch of misfit guys from here and there, and they just happen to all work out together very well. And for that to happen again, I think it will be very rare.
My thoughts on this, because I'm going to let Bryant and Nolan go into this deeply, however deep they want to go into it. I think it takes a special quarterback that you pair with a special coach, and then you can have this happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it gives teams false hope, in my opinion.
Yes.
Nobody's going to play. Nobody has ever, I should say, played this efficient as this Indiana team. It's some of those advanced metric things you can find on websites like Games on Paper. They're the most efficient, best statistical team, regardless of year, regardless of whatever. They are the most efficient team of all time in college football. They played above whatever percentage that you would normally expect them to play. It's partly because of Cignetti. It's partly because Fernando Mendoza didn't make any mistakes. He had, I think, 6 interceptions all year. He had like 4 of them in the first, I want to say 6, 7 games. He had 0 in the entire playoffs here. The last time they lost a fumble was week 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. They don't beat themselves. They never give you an opportunity. So to say another team is going to do that, I don't believe it. The only other way that you can actually make a deep playoff run, I mean, look at Miami. They just gave Beck, what, $4 million, $5 million? They're talking about giving Mensa $10 million. That's the other way you can get there. Texas Tech, Miami way. Let's throw a ton of money at it, and let's get the biggest, best roster we can. Or you can do Indiana's way and try and coach your way there. But I think that's your only chance to kind of just come out of nowhere.
We can't forget Indiana's got a backing of a billionaire too, so they're going to be right there.
They did not until just recently.
Correct.
But even then, Mark Cuban did. He even talked about how this is not sustainable because these guys are not going to keep throwing in money because there's no return on it. I mean, eventually they're going to stop. Throwing in money. I mean, even if you do have a ton of money to give away, looking like at Texas Tech, with Cody Campbell and all these programs that have big donors, eventually they're not. They're going to stop giving at some point. And you got to keep finding more and more. And if they don't have a return on that, other than the love for their university or, the love for the sport, I just don't find this being sustainable. Like, I don't see it going. I give it 5 to 10 years and then something's going to change.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Brian.
On that, I got 2 points. I think partially, we're going to see more teams be in this conversation. I just don't think you're going to see an Indiana type team come through and win. I think you're going to see more teams be highly competitive that weren't there because of NIL, but I agree with Dave, it's not sustainable. But I got 2 points on what I think this will do for the future of college football. One, I think coaching staffs or coaches are going to focus more on their coaching staffs a little bit because I think it wasn't just Cignetti. I think Indiana has great position coaches, and Cignetti really probably isn't coaching a lot of the positions, if at all. He's just kind of the head of the train, and depending on those guys to be good coaches for their respective positions. So I think that's one. And two, I think you're going to see a lot of teams focus on getting guys that maybe aren't highly recruited or have a bunch of stars or whatever, but they're experienced and played a lot of college football because that's exactly what this team was. They might be a lower tier guy from Southern University or something, but they've played 60 football games and started 59 of them. You're going to recruit guys more like that than you probably would have in recent history because of what happened in this Indiana team, because that's what this team was.
To your point, I think it's going to be more about, does this guy buy into my system? Does he fit what I'm trying to do? Does he fit the offense or defense I'm trying to run? It's more of a scheme thing. Like, does this guy fit? Does this guy want to come in here and play hard-nosed football? Does this guy want to come in here and get after it? You heard Cignetti talk about how they took no days off. He was hard on his team, and these guys bought into it. That's hard to do in today's, for lack of a better term, today's prima donna football. Like it's hard to get onto some of these guys. They get pissed off. They run away. You're scared that if I chew my player's ass, well, he's going to hop in the portal and he's not going to play next week. Cignetti didn't give a shit. Like, you can play for me and buy into this shit and we can have success, or you can get the hell out. And some guys it's going to work for, some teams it's going to work for. It's all about how you get the whole piece to come together and become one whole unit. And that's what you saw here with Indiana. Now, what no one said, I think, is the truest statement on the episode so far, in the sense of it gives teams false hope. This is going to get a lot of coaches fired.
I think it puts false pressure on them too.
Yes, it is going to get a lot of coaches fired. Well, you didn't go win us a national championship, even though we were the worst team in football 3 years ago. You didn't go make the playoffs and win a natty in like a 4-year window. So we're moving on. That is going to become a massive point of emphasis on this. Not every team is going to be Indiana. Not every coach is going to be Curt Cignetti. Not every quarterback is going to be Mendoza. And not every offensive line is going to come together as a unit and be this good. Like, there's just so many things that come into this piece. that I think are going to cause some problems for some teams and some fans to have unrealistic expectations down the road. It was awesome, though. And I have to ask you guys, is this the best college football story and best college football turnaround that we've ever witnessed?
Yes, easily.
I'd say so.
I think so easy, too.
I'd say make 30 for 30.
Dude, they might make it. This is what they're looking for in 30 for 30s.
Problem is they can't make a movie called Hoosiers because there already is one.
That is true as well. They'll just call
Hoosiers
it SIG.
Part 2.
They'll just call it the SIG.
But it ain't basketball this time.
The
Yeah.
SIG boys.
The SIG boys. I like it. What if – hey, that's how it's going to start. What if I told you the most unsuccessful college football team turns it around in 2 years with a coach named SIG and wins a national championship? That's it. You know, the what if I told you, it's exactly what it's going to be. It was awesome stuff, man. Last question that I have, unless you guys have anything. Brian's probably not going to like this. I don't really even like saying it myself. It's time to really have this conversation.
The SEC is not the best conference in football.
The Big Ten is the best
I've
conference.
been telling you guys this.
See,
They have won 3 straight national championships with 3 different teams.
See,
Mhm.
but I still don't think at the end of the day that the Big Ten is better than the SEC. I think the SEC is a lot deeper than the Big
All
Ten.
right, hold on. I
think
want to
the
argue
top half
about
of the
this.
Big Ten is
Give me your
impressive.
points.
I knew this would get it going. Here we go.
I think that the top end of the Big Ten is impressive, and yeah, they keep winning. But just because you got a couple of teams that won in the last couple of years, hey, it's gonna come back around. SEC is gonna figure it out again. I mean, I think LSU is gonna be real dangerous next year. There's gonna be a lot of other teams that are probably gonna be really good.
Dude, there's a real chance. But hang on, though. There's a real chance that the Big Ten could win it again next year with a 4th different team in Oregon because Dante Moore's coming back.
Yep.
Like, I'm with you. I'm a Mizzou fan. I'm an SEC guy. The
See,
top,
All right,
top is not close. Go ahead, Nolan. The top is
here's
not
my question. When did the SEC start claiming they were the best conference in football?
when they were winning all kinds of national championships. When they were
What did the Big Ten just do?
what the SEC claimed stake when they were pickling them off every single year.
But also, the SEC claimed it when it was the same 2 teams winning every single year.
Mm-hmm.
Sprinkle
Big
in,
Ten just did it 3 years in a row with 3 different teams. You can't tell me they're not the best conference in football if the SEC claimed it for the exact same reason.
We can't say 2. There was a time with
Okay.
Florida. There was a time with LSU, but it was mainly Bama, Georgia.
I will say I think Big Ten is the most successful at this moment. I don't think they're the best conference. They are the most successful because they are winning national championships. But I think in regards to talent and being a good conference, they're not the best conference. I still think the SEC is deeper from top to bottom versus Big Ten.
But I think what you have
won-
to look at,
How do we define the best, though? You got to
Exactly.
win the national championship, right?
I'm with Nolan on this. What you have to look at and define the word success is, okay, I've had 3 national champions in 3 years. What do you bring to the table? You weren't in the national championship this year, SEC.
But we had 4 guys in the
I'd go off
playoffs.
of win percentages. If you average out my winning
Wait, hold on.
percentages
Hold on.
all the
1
teams in my
second.
conference.
What'd you say, Bryant?
I said, but we had 4 teams in the playoffs.
Who, the SEC? That means you had
Yeah.
better odds to win, and you still lost.
True.
I mean, it's – listen, I've tried to have every internal argument with myself to go ahead and give this up, and it's time. It is time until they prove me otherwise. What have I said about James Franklin and Penn State? What have I said about Cristobal and Miami? What have I said about Indiana? I'm right until you prove me otherwise. Well, now Indiana's proved me otherwise, and now the Big Ten's proved me otherwise. It's time.
So let's say I don't know, Miami wins it next year, right? And then let's say
Please God, I hope not.
They're not.
okay,
I
just throwing
agree.
it out there. If if an ACC team wins the next 2 years, are they now better than the SEC because they've won 2 years in a row?
Listen, that you had one argument to
Yes.
make that would have been good. That was it.
ACC's not good.
ACC, to your point,
You got teams like
They
Florida
would've-
State that are doormat of college football.
That's how we define success, is winning the national championship.
Yeah, but for an individual program, I think for a conference that can't be your defining.
That's what the
factor of
SEC
success.
did. Why are we moving the goalpost all of a sudden?
Hang on. I can hear Dave's argument, though, because if Miami does win one, then okay, so they pickle one off. Now we can't sit here and say the ACC is the best conference because we all know that they're not. Okay, so and to back Dave's point up and to play devil's advocate here and go back and forth a little bit, what do you do if Notre Dame wins a national championship?
The Independents are the best.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Them and
UConn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it to light. The Big Ten, they're premier right now until proven otherwise. This is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And there is, like I said a second ago, if I were to place a bet today right now on a wager, I'm taking Oregon with Dante Moore next year. I don't know what else to tell you guys. 4 in 4 years would be incredible from 4 different teams. Anybody else want to argue? Are we good on the arguing? It didn't even get heated, but it was a little fun for a minute. It was a little spicy. Good on it?
I'm good.
Last thing on this episode before we completely turn the page and close the book and shed a tear that it's over. The Book It segment, dude. Give a round of applause, fellas. The Book It segment has fought long and hard all season to get this thing completely up above, and we did it. We did it right here at the end. We're gonna let the money change because we ended the season 102 and 100. 2 games over 500. Could not have had a better ending to it. I thought it was very storybook that we went into the national championship a dead 500 of 100 and 100. That to me was wild. We had 200 bets going into that, and it came out of the national championship for us to go above or below. Bryant, Dave, Nolan, fantastic job, gentlemen. We ended this thing 2 games over 500. Bryant, go ahead and just talk about how bad we took the beats all season.
Yeah, we could have easily been 115 and whatever, but that's how this type of stuff goes. I think if we bet $100 on every one of these, we'd probably be up like $5.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just how sports betting is. I mean, you almost always end up back at 50-50, but with the start we had, we were not good after week 3. Like we called it the faded segment after a while. We couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. And we, like Indiana did in this championship game, slowly, methodically came back, big, long plays, went back to the drawing board. And here we are. We ended up 102 and 100 on the season. Quite impressive. Also impressive, we have 202 plays too. That's crazy.
That's getting after it. I'm good here, fellas. You guys got anything? Nope.
Don't.
No, sir.
Okay, so what this means for us moving forward is we don't go away. We just throttle it back a little bit. So what we're going to do moving forward is we'll put the 4 of our heads together. Obviously, we're going to talk about the transfer portal stuff. We're going to talk about some coaching situations. Talk about some maybe way too early predictions a little bit just to kind of keep it fun and spicy. And then the 4 of us will come together, probably take a week off from the show. And that week off, we're probably going to put an itinerary together for what we're going to do throughout the structure of the offseason, kind of like we did last year. We had some really fun episodes where we did predictions. We did players to watch from each conference. We did a lot of fun stuff. We're going to try to do all that again, make it even better, and stay in the office at least once a week with you guys. What do you have, Brian?
We'll have a couple NFL draft shows in there and who to watch from college football. I think that was a big hit last year as well. So look for a few of those episodes too.
I think we even talked about doing some kind of a fantasy episode, right, Brian? When it came to college players and some dynasty draft stuff, some players to be on the lookout for if you do a dynasty draft, or hell, if you're even doing just a redraft league, do some fun stuff with that. That'll probably get some hits. And make sure you're tuning in with us because we're going to bring a lot of fun stuff. So, Dave, Nolan, Bryant, fantastic job this season, gentlemen. Can't believe it's over. We say that every year, right? It comes and goes. I felt like we were just getting in here talking about how we had a 1-3 start on the Book It segment because Hawaii didn't cover by a half point. Kansas State lost outright to Iowa State in Dublin. And here we are wrapping it up with an Indiana Hoosiers national championship. So, fantastic job, gentlemen. Had tons of fun. You all good?
Yes, sir.
Right.
All right. Hey, you can follow us on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Deep Threat Sports, XDT_sports_, Facebook, Deep Threat Sports Network. That's Dave. That's Bryant. That's Nolan. I'm Colin. Until next time. Peace.